So this is kind of my machine pistol Honey Badger M4 V2 design that I made. I showed you kind of a build video of what I planned on doing, and of course now it's all put together. We're going to go over it. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what I did and give some pointers if you guys try to do something like this that makes it a little easier, right? So recently I did a Gen 8 M4 kind of machine pistol where I did the battery up in a front grip, and then you have to run wires back up, and I mentioned in those videos it gets really tight, and that makes it hard to get the gearbox closed good, and a Gen 8 gearbox actually has more room than most other gearboxes. So since this was a V2, this started as an EMERBU M4, the new ones they're currently selling with a V2 gearbox. So it already had metal gears. It already was, completely upgraded gearbox and basically about 275 FPS out of the box when it comes to performance for FPS. So when I did take it apart, I did put a small spacer, but I went with the smallest ones I've made, which is just this big. So it's not a huge spacer for the spring to get it a little increase in FPS. So now instead of 275, we're on average in that 285 to 290, probably hits highs of 300. I didn't go crazy just because if you go with really large spacers, you're just more likely to end up having problems down the road. So since I currently didn't have like any M95 springs to swap in there, I went with just kind of a small spacer to try to get it close to 300. So not quite there on average, but still happy with it. Still functions great and very consistent. So that's kind of what I was going for. Now, one thing, like I said, with that previous build, gearbox way too tight, so I didn't want to run wires on inside out there. So I thought, let's try something a little different with this. We're going to put a cap on the back here, and we're going to run wires to a battery box here, which I'm going to show you a little closer in a minute. So that way it alleviates that, makes it a lot easier. And of course, in this case, you can always remove this and put a buffer tube back on. All you'd have to do is splice on a new connection for your battery, because in this case, we've got it spliced to this type of connection, which obviously isn't going to work to go directly into a battery. So this plugs in here, and then in here, I've got a JST2 connection, and a battery's already in there. So really, to return it, all you have to do is that, if you ever did want to go that route. Also went with just a little grip extension, just because, again, I try to do new, different things, try to be creative, dress up the blaster. Really, that's just for cosmetics. Nice little kind of mag plate on the bottom there, incorporating this kind of hatch / diamond type design that you see throughout. We got the Honey Badger handguard here, which I had to slightly modify. And then I printed a barrel nut that would allow this receiver to work with that. And then just kind of some decorative plates there to tie back in the colors. Really, that's just cosmetics, right? Kept the same type of sight back here. Got a printed one up here. And then this is a big kind of a recessed fake suppressor on there. The metal tip does come like right to the end on the inside. The goal at first was this was going to go all the way back in. However, using M-lock stuff, you've got those M-locks on the inside, and then because of those, you couldn't slide something that thick all the way in. So instead, I just kind of made a nice collar for it to dress it up that way. All right, so that kind of gives you a rundown on it. So now let's take a little closer look. So this is a cool grip. I've used it before, but I modified it, made it an M-lock, and then also just adjust the size slightly so that it does kind of line up nice up against the mag well, which is what I was going for. Okay. And then you can see over here, this is what's going on this side. That shows you there what we have with the wire. Obviously, I put this on this side so that we're not interfering with the charging handle. That was the big reason of doing it there. If we went straight on the top, thought then we'd obviously, this wire somehow, you could probably wrap around. But I thought going with the canted style also allows you to keep your sight there, okay? So that was another reason. The other thing was I utilized a lot of pieces I had on hand. So this was basically, with the ends cut off, a large fake suppressor from actually a really cheap one of the first M416s kind of ever for sale, and I have a bunch of those laying around. So I utilized that piece there. I did a different one that I cut here, and I just printed the tip piece, and you can see the metal tip comes right to the end there. That screws on there nice. The outer barrel on the inside here is the same one that comes with the M4. Again, these are just M-lock. You can see how the grip extension still allows you to access the screw if you need to adjust the motor height. All right, just put a little filler piece in there instead, just as something different. Otherwise, everything works as it should. So again, we got an EMERBU M4a1 V2 gearbox, customized, slight performance upgrade, and then turned into kind of a machine pistol style blaster. So I think it turned out really nice, really happy with it. Do like the color combinations. You know, this is that kind of weird brown the honey badger is, but I think it goes well with the black and the khaki/tan. And overall, I think turned out great. So let me know what you guys think. Comments, questions, post them below. Of course, like, subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and remember, ring that bell for notification so that you should get updates anytime I post a video, especially those monthly contest videos, so that you got a good chance of participating and winning $200 in custom blasters and accessories every month on my channel. Thanks for your support.